Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to have a look at a couple of different brokerage accounts available here in Australia. First, we're going to have a look at Selfwealth. I've had a few different questions on the channel before, people asking around my thoughts around Selfwealth. So we're going to look into that, and then we're also going to compare it to an actual brokerage site that I do personally use, and that is Stake. Now, Stake are in the process of rolling out a beta version, which is giving access to ASX listed both stocks and also ETFs, which is going to be some pretty big competition for Selfwealth. So we're going to compare the two, see how they stack up. So with that said, let's jump on over to the laptop and see how they stack up. All right guys, we're going to jump in, have a look over Selfwealth to start off with. Start by having a look at the fees, then we're just going to have a quick tour of their platform itself. Then we're going to move over and have a look at Stake and have a look what they have on offer when it comes to buying and selling equities on the ASX market. Now let's jump in and have a quick look over this. One of the first things you should always look at when you're ever looking at any brokerage account or any ETF for that matter is how much they are charging you in fees. Also when it comes to your super and also any other KiwiSaver that you may have a look at how much you're getting slugged for fees. So price comparison, and they've done a little graph here just to sort of highlight how cheap they are compared to the other sort of big four brokerage accounts here in Australia. So price comparison, they are $9.50 per trade, regardless of trade size, no account fees or any other commissions on top of that. So now if we just have a quick look at their graph here, let's say you place a trade and that trade in total was just over $5,000. The most you will pay with Selfwealth will be $9.50, whereas if you compare that to CommSec, NAB or ANZ, you can see they're around that $19.95 and ANZ's coming in at $24.95. Westpac's very similar to this as well. And this is where they had their strong competitive advantage early days, as they were the first provider to offer this flat fee rather than the tiered system that a lot of the other brokerage accounts here in Australia seem to have. And that goes up to even $50,000. We can see if you're buying $50,000 in shares or ETFs or whatever it may be, or a combination of both, the most that you'll be paying will be that $9.50 in brokerage costs. Whereas CommSec is, 6 times that amount at $60, and NAB and that are at $55. Application fees. You can see across the board they're all pretty free there. And then off-market transfer coming in at $27.50 for Selfwealth, and then the others are coming around that $50 mark there as well. Let's have a quick tour over their actual brokerage account. Like I said, I'm not personally using Selfwealth, so I'm just having a look over their website here. If you do use Selfwealth, drop in the comments below some of your key things why you like Selfwealth. Like I said, I don't personally use it. Here's just some of their key highlights of why they believe they are one of the better brokerage providers in Australia. So you can create a free account, you can transfer money easily from your own bank, buy and sell equities, monitor your portfolio. So they seem to have some bit of a monitor your portfolio system within their brokerage site as well, which is good to do. Me personally, I like to use SHARESIGHT. For those who aren't aware, SHARESIGHT is a great platform to monitor your portfolio. You can keep track such as currency gains, dividends, capital gains, everything like that, all in one neat package, and they have a free offer up to 10 holdings. And then if you would like to move forward and have a paid subscription, then you can have multiple portfolios and add benchmarks and all different things. I've made a couple of videos on the channel about it, so definitely check those out if you're interested to learn a little bit more about that. I'll leave a link in the description to that. So they have that there. Like I said, I don't know, I'm not familiar how that works. Selfwealth tools and features. Buy and sell stocks in your favourite companies and ETFs. So it looks like they have a pretty good app, pretty good interface from what I can gather here, just looking at some of their snapshots from their website here. Track your shares and investment portfolio. Like I said, they've got that portfolio tracker there. If you're familiar with this portfolio tracker, do you like it? How does it sort of compare to SHARESIGHT? I'd be curious to hear thoughts around that. Get more detail on each of your share or ETF performance with a full portfolio table showing profit and loss, current prices, and other data points within your portfolio. So diagnostic tools, bit of a your wealth check score, your safety rating, research. They obviously have some high level research available on their platform as well, which is a lot of brokerage sites have, especially if you're even looking at Westpac or ANZ or CommSec, whatever it be. They usually have a fair bit of information there if you want to do a bit more of a deep dive into any company that you're looking at investing in as well. So they obviously have that feature as well, which is good to have. Good to have that option available on any brokerage site, I feel. Looks like it's a fairly easy platform to use from what I gather, and yeah, the fees are fairly competitive. So that's just a basic high-level look over Selfwealth there. Okay, so let's jump over and have a look at Stake now. Okay, just a little disclaimer before we kick into this. Stake has currently rolled this out in the beta version. I am part of the beta version, but this is not rolled out to the public yet. So hopefully in the next month or two, they said by the end of the year, this will be rolled out to everyone that is interested in buying and selling equities on the ASX. But let's just have a quick look at what they have on offer to see how it compares to Selfwealth. So Stake launches $3 ASX stock trades. Is it the cheapest trading app? We're just going to have a quick look through this article, then we'll actually jump on over and have a look at Stake as well. So the platform has the lowest fees for US and ASX share trading, but it depends how much you invest. Investors will soon be able to trade Australian CHESS sponsored. Like I mentioned earlier, they are CHESS sponsored, so you will have a HIN number attached to the shares that you own, stocks for just $3 per trade. Aussie trading app Stake has announced it will be making ASX shares available on its platform from October alongside US stocks. So like I said, this is only in the beta version at the moment. They opened it up to 10,000 people, and then we're all sort of trialling it at the moment to see how it goes. I personally haven't actually bought and sold any equities through the Stake platform yet, but I've just been sort of having a bit of a look over it myself over these last few days. Stake's been around since 2017, and they were the first brokerage account here in Australia to offer $0 brokerage in Australia to be able to access the US markets. Like I said earlier, they make their money in the exchange fee when you transfer funds into their account. So how does it work? Stake has confirmed that stocks will be CHESS sponsored. This is the registration system used by the Australian Securities Exchange to register stocks ownership. With this alternative custody model, ownership is recorded by the broker. So not all brokers offer this CHESS sponsored, so I think it's a good way. It's definitely better, I feel, if it is CHESS sponsored. A little bit more protection as you own the shares directly in your own name. The $3 brokerage is a flat fee. So it's just like Selfwealth. Selfwealth have the $9.50 flat fee. Doesn't get tiered depending on how much you're buying or selling, regardless of how much you invest or how often you trade. So it's that flat fee, $3 as well. So definitely quite an attractive brokerage cost there. And having access to both the US market and also the ASX in one nice, neat platform is quite a good advantage as well, I feel. So at this stage, though, this is a key to note, fractional share trading will not be available at this stage for ASX shares. So if you're looking at only investing maybe $10 or $20, but you're looking at a company that has a share price a lot higher than that, you won't be able to buy fractional shares with them at this stage, like that you can do with US equities, especially if you're looking at buying into quite expensive shares such as Apple or Berkshire, buying some Class A shares, they're trading around 430,000. You'll probably be buying fractional ownership. You can trade from $10, but you must have at least $500 invested in the ASX listed companies. Is it the cheapest trading app? So with a $0 brokerage model for US stocks, $3 for ASX trades, and no ongoing monthly fees for the standard account, Stake is definitely among the cheapest trading apps out there. Now, as a comparison here, they're just comparing this to CommSec. By far Australia's biggest online broker charges from $10 per trade for ASX shares and up to $19.95 for US stocks. And this is, like I said, that's a tiered model as well. So depending on how many shares you're buying and selling, you'll be charged accordingly with brokerage costs there. This is actually over on the Stake website itself. Like I said, I'll leave a link to this in the description below if you wanted to check it out a little bit further yourself. Just a few things on the website. So like CHESS sponsored. They have a portfolio transfer, so you can transfer your equities that you may hold with another brokerage account directly into Stake as well. Just a couple of FAQs here. Like I said, the 10,000 is that are available to beta is actually locked, so you can't be part of the beta until they unfortunately open this up to public. But they say down here, which we'll touch over in a minute, here they say about their fractional shares. Like I said earlier, they don't actually have fractional shares because Stake offers a CHESS sponsored model. Shares are held within your own HIM, and you only supports whole shares. You cannot purchase fractional ASX shares. The minimum amount, this is key, especially like I mentioned earlier, the initial purchase of any shares in any listed ASX company or ETF must be at least $500. This is the ASX minimum marketable parcel. However, after the initial $500 purchase is made, there is no minimum or subsequent purchase of shares in the same company. This is key here. When will access to the ASX officially launch to all customers? Access to the ASX through Stake is currently scheduled for broader release later this year. We'll receive more information as we progress through the beta period. So like I said, I don't have any more information when this is actually going to be open to everyone, but definitely if you're looking at getting into investing and you're looking at different brokerage accounts, this would be a good one to possibly look at considering, as they have some of the lowest brokerage costs across the board there, especially here in Australia. And it gives you exposure to both the US markets and also the ASX as well. We're just going to have a quick look here at the platform. Stake has a very easy to understand platform to use, especially if you're just starting out, which sort of Stake's marketing that way. Fantastic overview, easy to understand what you're doing, buying and selling. There's no sort of weird things you have to go through in order to buy and sell equities. Very sleek interface there. So very similar to the US system, and you can just chop and change between both your US equities portfolio and then also your Australian portfolio as well. Got a watch list here. I've just put a couple of different ETFs in here. So I've got the Vanguard Australian Shares Index and also the VTS Vanguard US Total Market Shares Index. As you can see, it's fairly straightforward, so I can click on this here, brings it up. You can just type in how many units you'd like to buy with this within this ETF, and away you go, and the price that you're happy to pay, submit that, and away you go. Has some very basic sort of metrics here to look at: the PE ratio, dividend yields, bid and ask, opens, highs and lows, market caps, and then a few little other announcements around that particular ETF or company that you may be looking at as well. So that's just it there, and then we have obviously a bit more research here if you can sort of keep track on a few different things, a few different trending companies. So, you know, it's very similar, especially if you're familiar with the US side of the business. You're buying and selling equities on the US market. It's very similar to that from what I gather here. But like I said, I haven't actually personally used a stake to buy and sell equities on the ASX myself yet. Anyway, guys, that's just it for a very high-level overview. I think definitely this is going to be some pretty stiff competition for Selfwealth, and they may be taking away some of that market share that Selfwealth has sort of gained over the last few years now that they're offering $3 brokerage on ASX-listed companies. So definitely worth considering if you're looking at opening a brokerage account in the next sort of few months when this sort of comes online. Anyway, guys, any questions you may have on anything I covered off on today, definitely drop it in the comments below, and I'll do my best to sort of help you out there. Hey guys, hopefully you got some value there. If you've got any questions on anything I covered off on today, drop it in the comments below and I'll do my best to sort of help you out. Like I said at the start, I don't personally use Selfwealth, so I don't have a whole lot of knowledge of that brokerage site itself, but I do use Stake, and I do enjoy using Stake as they're some of the lowest brokerage costs across the board when it comes to buying and selling equities on the US market. And now that they're branching out into the Australian market, it's going to make them a pretty strong brokerage option here in Australia, I feel, especially when this does get rolled out next year, so everyone can get access to it. It's only going to be a $3 charge for buying and selling equities on the ASX, which is going to give them a pretty strong market position there on different brokerage sites available here in Australia. Well, that's what I think anyway. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts though. You know, are you pro Stake or pro Selfwealth? Definitely drop that in the comments below. I'd love to sort of get a bit of a poll on it, watch everyone's thoughts on it. That's just my take. And look, personally, I'll probably be leaning more towards Stake. But like I said, I haven't personally used Selfwealth. But just looking at the fees that both brokerage sites charge, I think probably Stake would be a better option when they do have that ASX capabilities rolled out across the board. To close out the video, just going to do a quick Movember update. For those of you who aren't aware, I'm currently doing Movember. That's why I have this majestic moustache on my face. Myself and 12 other YouTubers have banded together, and we've got a little team, and we're raising funds for men's mental health and suicide prevention, and also both testicular and prostate cancer. If you're interested in a little bit more about that, or you'd like to donate, definitely check out the couple of links in the description below, and you can learn a little bit more about Movember. With that said, we'll catch you in the next video. Cheers, guys.